Increase the practice of the bodiless stage, close and equal to the Father. In order to become close and equal to the Father, practice being bodiless while in your body. Just as you saw Sakar Father Brahma being an example of the Karmatit stage, follow the Father in the same way. While you have that body, while you are playing your part with your physical senses on the field of action, take the support of your physical senses to perform actions and then become detached. This practice will make you bodiless. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Welcome to Vikti Parivar. So I'm sure you all enjoyed the video. These were some of the glimpses from the program, which I had mentioned yesterday about the big program, huge program in TTRC, inauguration of the big auditorium, which was built here, and amazing program. I'm sure you all must have felt that you were here with us in your angelic form and enjoying each and every moment. And yes, also you saw some of the glimpse taking leave from Bharat for now and arriving soon in New York. So I'm sure you are also feeling that you're flying with Didi, right? Okay, and also I had mentioned yesterday about Gopi Ben will be coming with us today and sharing about some of the projects happening in Madhuban. So I request everyone to stay tuned with us to listen to those projects. It's very important for us to know. So for now, let's start with the series. Today is day 8. Increase the practice of the bodiless stage. Ashariri and Videhi. Today's topic, close and equal to the Father. Now we will listen to Mohini Didi.
Shanti, I had been little bit brief in practice and also speaking because we are traveling and it takes little while to settle. Today also we will be packing to go to airport, and so I will share the point. It says that if you are close and equal to the Father, in order to become close and equal to the Father, practice, Baba says, being bodiless. When you, Baba says, your body, bodiless while in your body. Because if you are not in body, you are already bodiless, right? Just as from you saw in Sakar Father Brahma being an example of karmatit stage. That means not think of the past and think about what will happen, this might happen, no? Have 100% faith in drama. Follow Father as example. Example of karmatit stage. Follow the Father. So don't think that you are not karmatit. You are certain percentage. Everyone is karmati, not 100%. Every stage, even angelic stage, you have that stage. But to be angelic all the time, to be angelic while doing actions, to be angelic when you come in contact and relationship, that we all are practicing, right? So Baba says that while you are in body, while you have the body, while you are, Baba says, playing your part with your body. So Baba says, just as physical senses on the field of action, take the support of your physical senses to perform actions, and even, Baba says, become detached. This practice, with that, you become bodiless. That means use the body, then become bodiless, detached. I think if we do it, it's very interesting, right? So you try to do that few times a day. That will be our homework for today. Om Shanti.
Shanti, thank you, Didi, and safe travels. I know that the family in the Americas are invoking you and waiting for your return. So, good morning, everybody in Avyakti Parivar. Didi and Bhumi Ben had asked me to share some updates and news from Madhuban. And before I launch into some of the details of what's happening, because I feel it's so important to keep connected with the wave that's happening in Madhuban at a practical level, spiritual level. I was just appreciating very much Didi's presence and Didi's efforts in the last 3 months or so that she's been here in Madhuban. They always say it's important to catch the stream of consciousness at the beginning of the day. Because when you elevate that stream of consciousness at the beginning of the day, it sets the mood for the whole day. And the effort that Didi was making for 5 o'clock every morning and then 5:45 every morning, and the gathering just grew larger and larger in her cottage, inspiring everyone to shed their laziness and really become so alert and use those morning hours in a worthwhile way. And it's almost like before the physical sun came up, the spiritual sun was already shining. The light that she was emitting through her presence, and something new every day. And I really see how that wave and that little light that was shining starts to make so many things happen in the yagya. And so before Didi left, both Sister Genti and Didi met the Niwasis. I think it was, the night before she left Shantivan. And together with that meeting, we arranged an update meeting on various fronts of different things happening in relation to water and all the different projects here. And when I think of the work, just to give you all a context of what these projects are related to, that are in connection with me and a whole team of consultants we have, since 2019, when we had a series of lots of double foreigners experiencing illness, sickness when they came to Madhuban. Then Sister Jayanti and Dr. Nirmala at that time held a meeting with all the different departments, water, food, to find out what is the reason for this. And of course, it pointed to two things: water safety and food safety. And so since that time, a slow kind of movement, awareness-raising movement, support team set up to support all the departments in Shantivan, Gyan Sarovar and Pandav Bhavan, and as well as the management committee, to start raising all the health and safety, environment, health and safety awareness on the campus. And of course, over the last 4 or 5 years, the government has also woken up to safety regulations, especially for places of worship. In 2020, we received from the Food Safety Department of the Government of India a manual called Bhog. And I remember looking at this manual thinking, Bhog? And Bhog is an acronym that stands for blissful, hygienic offering to God. And it was the first time that the government, the Food Safety Department of the Government of India, had created this manual especially for places to worship, of worship. Because as you can imagine, the number of temples in India and the number of places of worship, enormous. And so to regulate food safety and other aspects, they'd created this manual, and we were then required to really get a license to run the kitchen. And so from that time, a little help from drama, at a very practical level, helped the wave of several changes in Madhuban to come about, to bring safety at many different levels. And as a detached observer, when I look at the situation and I think, what is Baba doing at this time? And there is a reason why these changes are taking place. And in my mind, there was always this feeling that, you know, our following of Srimad and what the Dadis exemplified was always a deep level of honesty. Honesty with matter, honesty with the self, honesty with Baba, honesty with drama, and honesty with the souls around us. And truth in the end moments is going to be our greatest protection. And so, yes, there's honesty with Baba, where to the extent, am I following Baba's Srimad? Am I aligning with Baba's intentions and Baba's bhavna? Honesty with the self, the investigation into the weaknesses and scars, and the honesty towards moving in the direction of divinity. Honesty with matter now is a chapter that I'm seeing in these last 6 or 7 years, where the specific honesty with matter is, am I using everything that I have in a worthwhile way? And especially, am I not wasting anything? When it comes to the elements, the element of water, the element of food, you know. So I'm just seeing how, if we are honest with the elements, then at the end, even though the great dance of all the elements will play a significant role in destruction, but our honesty with the elements will protect us. And so I've really felt that Baba has been supporting all of these movements. And I want to share with you, Sister Mohini at the end of the presentation on water with the Niwasis had talked about the fact of now the world wants to see from us an example at every level. They want to see to what extent we're aligning with our practical values of zero waste, conscious living. And so she was encouraging all the Madhuban Niwasis to really step up efforts in saving water and creating safety and conscious living. So I want to just give you 3 updates from Madhuban on various levels and some details of progress, because so many of you have supported these by putting a seed in the yagya to contribute to these projects, and that's really helped Madhuban. And I'll start with the awareness program on water management. This was what we had done with the Niwasis and both the Didis before they left. The project is really Save Water, Save Life, and creating, water, ensuring water quality, hygiene, conservation, as well as availability, because this is Rajasthan. And for the last perhaps 6 years, there are in Shantivan 8 departments related to water, from transportation to piping, plumbing, RO systems, reverse osmosis water filtration systems. And we were really looking at water quality and water safety, hygiene. And of course, in this presentation, there were a number of different facts shared with the residents in Shantivan. And a short video was made encouraging people to save water when they bathe. Don't keep the tap running when you're brushing your teeth or you're washing your clothes. Fill up just 1.5 buckets of water and wash your clothes. So many, many things and we'll be playing these videos to the different groups that come. But, one of the things that was raised in this presentation that, both Didis felt was very important is that at this point in time, there is a serious crisis of water across the globe, to the point where people are saying that the Third World War will have a link to water availability. Only 1%, and I'm reading these statistics off the presentation, only 1% of the Earth's water is usable fresh water. So you can imagine huge competition for this resource. And when we bring this down to the local level, the Sirohi district in which Baba's Yagya sits in, the municipality of Sirohi, the water table, the groundwater underneath the ground, that we call that the water table, it has dropped by 6 to 12 feet in just 1 year. And so, they showed this map of Rajasthan where in certain areas there's been a huge drop of the water table, and it's right across Bharat and in different places in the world. And so the necessary for water consciousness is so important, especially for our uses in daily life. And, it's interesting facts. They're saying, well, on average, each person consumes 150 liters of water a day. It's about 10 buckets of water, if you look at it. 1 5-minute shower takes 30 to 50 liters. Washing 1 load of clothes is 50 to 60 liters. Cooking for the family of 4 is 15 to 20 liters. So, when we have a large community like we do in Shantivan and the different campuses, responsible water management is not optional. It's absolutely essential. And so, of course, when we use water, we don't think at the end of the day, oh, how much water are we using? But it's a lot. And in Shantivan especially, we have 2 sources of water, raw water. One comes from the riverbed and the other comes from bore wells in the ground. And now it's mandatory in different buildings that we construct to have water harvesting mechanisms in place. So, the construction team are looking into this very, very seriously. And so we had a huge challenge here on the campus, because the person who are in our consulting team that were giving the presentation One was the technical director for Veolia, which is a large company that was the first to create the reverse osmosis systems in India. And the other one was the former general manager of Eureka Forbes, which again deals with reverse osmosis. And both have been working in the water industry for over 40 years. And so in the presentation, they've been helping us audit all the campuses, working with the 8 departments, creating teams at many different levels. And the first part was protecting the quality of water entering the campus. We didn't have a filter for raw water entering the campus. So when we used to get a lot of water coming in, and sometimes bacteria level fluctuates in the water, it's rainy, there's a lot of mud and silt, we didn't have protection. This water would come straight into the campus, clog up the pipes, fill the tanks with silt. And so the decision was made 6 years ago that we would install water filtration, water treatment plants in Shantivan, in Gyan Sarovar, and in Pandit Bhavan, which would act as a first line of defense for all raw water coming in. So it would be sand filtered, carbon filtered, pre-chlorinated to kill the bacteria. Unfortunately, at this large scale, we don't have. It's the lesser of evils to sterilize water at a large scale, but we don't have another option. So, that meant at least the water coming into all these campuses would be treated to WHO standard, and it would be protected. And so that was a very, very big change here and a new addition, as well as increasing our storage capacity for water, so that we can, in emergencies, have on campus at least up to 4 days of water, even if we have 20,000 people on the campus. And Baba's hand in this is just incredible. So that's one side, protecting raw water. And then if you think of the campus, it's so spread out. You've got Shantivan, you have Mohini, you have Anand Sarovar, you have piping going different places, you have so many different accommodation buildings. And so naturally water going through some contamination at some point. So creating mechanisms to check water. And that's when a water testing laboratory was set up, which has been now brought to certification standards, upgraded. And we're creating online monitoring systems for water levels everywhere, as well as water chlorine levels, bacteria levels. The checking samples from every single building have been checked every day. So it's been a huge job to upgrade this, but Baba and Rama clearly see it as a need of the time, and it's happened. It's incredible how it's happened. And one of the things both of these consultants were saying, who have worked with large cities, large-scale water systems in Delhi and Mumbai, they were saying that, look, in these big cities, the water consumption is pretty steady because the population is fixed. But in Shantivan, for a period of 10 days, you may get 20,000 people on the campus. And then suddenly that number will drop right down to 2,000 to 3,000 when everybody leaves. And so managing water quality and hygiene is a very, very big challenge here because of the fluctuating numbers of population. And if water is kept stagnant, or say tanks are filled and accommodation buildings are not used, bacteria develops and we waste water. So, all of these systems, looking at the situation here, we've had to create several teams to monitor, okay, which buildings are being used. If they're not being used, the tanks are emptied and cleaned. And, we can manage this kind of influx of people coming in and out. So, looking at microbiologically safe water, an optimal mineral content, and it should be pleasant to drink. And very interesting that our approach here in Shantivan is 24/7 online monitoring. That's where we're moving towards. laboratory testing, and multiple treatment steps, because treatment is according to raw water. And it was very interesting because both these brothers were challenging different myths related to water. And the first myth was clear water is safe water. And it is a myth because he says hydrochloric acid is clear, it's not safe, right? And the second myth was that all bacteria in water are harmful, which is not true, because, you know, yogurt is bacteria and we eat yogurt every day. And so there's the harmful bacteria, E. coli, you know, salmonella, those are the kind of bacteria we look at, aim to removing and testing for especially. And that, you know, what's very important is that the other myth was that bottled water is good, because in India, you know, they're addicted to these RO plants. They put them up in every home. And if they don't have that, they have bottled water. And it was very interesting because one of them has been pioneering, one of our consultants has been pioneering this whole movement on nanoplastics, microplastics, especially in water. And so many doctors and surgeons who were performing heart surgeries or, you know, stents, us finding that in people's arteries, it's plastic coming out. And one statistic he gave was that in 1 liter of bottled water, the amount of nanoplastics coming through is equivalent to a small size credit card that's going into our body. And of course, our kidneys have the finest filters, nephrons, but there's a load on the body. And so, you know, very important to stick to glass bottles. And we're looking at that here in Shantivan, that as we progress with the development and refinement, centralizing our water system, and also creating a glass bottled drinking water plant so that we can produce our own bottled water is in the pipeline. And I think one of the issues that was very significant here on the campus is the whole thing of RO water, reverse osmosis, little plants. It's the purest and the best. And one of the consultants said, what is really, really important to note is that the total dissolved solids in water, which are minerals in water, are essential for our body. And if they are extracted out of the water, that water becomes virtually poisonous to drink. And he was educating the Niwasis because, of course, when they don't have this awareness, you know, sometimes they're drinking water that's very, very low in mineral content. And it just creates all kinds of complications in health. And they were saying that on average, the mineral content of water, which they call TDS, should be between 150 and 250, no less than that. And that's why, you know, they're not great promoters of reverse osmosis water, because in some places the quality of raw water is very good. It meets this standard. And if people then put an additional RO plant and reduce the minerals, in the long term, it's creating more health effects. So, you know, lots of very useful information to educate people here on the campus. And really, there's power in small actions. You know, if 1,000 people save 5 liters of water daily, 1.8 million liters of water a year is saved. If 1,000 people save 10 liters a day, 3.6 million liters of water is saved. And so, you know, one dripping tap, it costs 900 liters a month. You know, when you keep the tap running while brushing, that's 8 liters wasted. A leaking toilet flush, 100 to 400 liters a day goes. So real conscious kind of bringing awareness to the Niwasis, and many appreciated this simple education. This is what, I mean, the daddies, you know, Nirmal Shanta Daddy, I remember Rukmini Ben sharing the story, how, you know, she'd left the tap dripping in the sink very small, but she'd left the tap dripping, and about half an hour later, Nirmal Shanta Daddy came in, saw grains of rice in the bottom, saw the tap dripping, saw the light on, called her and said, do you know how much this wastage is costing and how much this is coming out of your account? And so, you know, the daddies and Baba had that level of economy that, you know, their renunciation, their attention to economy means all of us are, you know, surviving in a prosperous and abundant yagya today. And so for the many other souls that are going to come to take sustenance from Baba, how much is saving is our economy and our renunciation creating, so that we can continue to keep the yagya going for a little while longer for souls to earn their fortune. So that was the whole thing around the water presentation. And then, you know, apart from the kitchen, and I'll talk about Pandav Bhavan kitchen at the end, just a few minutes on the waste recycling plant that we have commissioned since last year. It's a biogas plant, and now we're very happy to say that on all 3 campuses, Pandav Bhavan, Shantivan and Shantivan related campuses, as well as Gyan Sarovar, we recycle. We have transportation vehicles that are segregated vehicles for dry wet waste. You know, dry waste is like plastic and paper, and wet waste is food waste. And we have our teams are producing in-house segregated bins for our use. And so every day we collect segregated waste from all campuses. We process up to 2 metric tons of wet waste, organic waste, vegetable, food waste, garden waste. And every day we process up to 3 metric tons of dry waste, paper, plastic, aluminium cans, bottle, glass materials, iron scraps. And, you know, of course, when we churn out all the food waste, recycle it, we generate biogas, and this biogas produces electricity. And so every day we generate something up to 150 to 200 units of electricity from the biogas plant. And we generate up to 10,000 liters of liquid organic manure. Because when the wet waste goes through a recycling process in the biogas plant, it becomes slurry. And that's organic manure that then goes out to all the different farms, Tapovan, Gulzaropovan, all the different places where Baba is growing their own vegetables. Baba's children are growing our vegetables. So all of that gets used. And then we also generate revenue from dry waste, plastic bottle compression, recycling that, by selling it to recycling markets. And every month at the moment, we're generating 30,000 rupees per month from recycling of dry waste. And then at the same time, we've started to make dry organic compost from the fibrous organic waste like coconut shells, corn shells, plant leaves, tree shrubs, etc. And of course, all of these efforts from our team, and I have to commend the Solar One team, Jaisima Bai, Yogendra Bai, because the plant is annexed to Solar One. They've just done some incredible work. And this has attracted the attention of the Rajasthan government. The state government and municipal bodies have sent about 65 of their engineers and staff personnel for training at this facility. And various NGOs from all across India have come for a field visit to see the successful operation of this plant. And then at the same time, we're also collaborating under CSR initiatives with different companies, and till date, under the CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility umbrella of different companies, we've received 2 collection vehicles, segregated waste collection vehicles under this initiative, and a lot of media coverage, actually, print media, digital media, of this initiative. So, the whole campaign, whilst water is save water, save life, the waste recycling campaign is from waste to best. And this was really Daddy Janki spearheading this initiative, even in Bharat. So I'm seeing that as we align, our spiritual principles with our practical work, service automatically happens in this field. It's quite incredible to see the efforts and how all these efforts are producing such good fruit in terms of automatic service happening. And then, of course, our dear Pandav Bhavan. We have fully licensed kitchens in Shantivan, and I will add that we get regular checks from the Food and Safety Department of India, and we have a 5-star rating for food safety and quality in Shantivan. And now as well in Gyan Sarovar, food licensing and safety. And now our dear Pandav Bhavan, the mothership, is also undergoing changes to the kitchen. Behind where the existing kitchen is, there is a piece of land we've been trying to get for several years, and Baba and Rama and the efforts of the seniors under Shashiben's guidance and leadership has enabled us to get that piece of land to literally build a new kitchen with the capacity so that we can have about 8,000 people. Because Pandav Bhavan being the mothership means that all of Baba's children that come from anywhere, be they Brahmins, be they Lokit guests, when they come upstairs, they want to eat in Madhuban, in Pandav Bhavan. And so even though the current kitchen capacity is only for 1,000, in Pandav Bhavan, every lunch, there's about 4,000 to 5,000 people coming for food. And the queues stretch. And so where the facilities are super overstretched. And so the need to increase the kitchen capacity, aligned to food safety regulations, means we have to make enormous infrastructure changes. And it's not straightforward upstairs because it's an eco-sensitive zone. The forestry department, the green department has huge says in what we do, what we don't do. We have to follow lots of guidelines. But despite several hurdles, with Baba's blessing, the blessings of the seniors, the project has now begun. The foundation work has been laid on the land, and a G+2 building, ground plus 2 floors of a fully fledged functioning kitchen on thermic fluid, eliminating diesel. And then where the existing kitchen will be, that will be transformed into vegetable department. Delivery will happen, sorting, cleaning, cutting, and then a seamless transfer into the new area where the kitchen will be built. And then a roti department, toli department, all the other departments and operations will be shifted to the back. And that's our plan. And then where the current toli kitchen is and milk kitchen is, that's going to be converted into dining, extra dining facilities. So it's a big plan. And of course, it's touching the heart of the Yajna. And so, yes, it comes with its challenges. But my feeling is anything we say yes to for Baba and for Baba's Yajna, keeping the Yajna in front of us, keeping Baba in front of us, keeping honesty, truth, and safety in front of us, especially at these times. Obstacles are the religion of Ravan's kingdom. But how we face them is, for me, the most important learning here. That creating a wave of effort that allows me to face challenges and obstacles peacefully, with love, with tolerance, means that as souls, we are injecting that wave of effort into the foundation of what is being created that's new. And it's that effort that will help all the souls connected to the project, all the souls that are going to be recipients of the benefit of that food and water. That effort that each of us makes now wave frequency is going to pass through, and it's going to help them overcome obstacles in their life, especially in this time to come, where there just seems to be wave after wave after wave. So it's really about staying focused in each moment, no matter what comes. Baba is there, drama is there, my stage is priority. And if it's the one thing that Brahma Baba, Daddy Janki would always share, that Brahma Baba loved the most, it was his stage. And that when that's really put in place, everything that we face is handled on the basis of Srimad, with love, with virtue, then we are creating a clear path forward for many, many souls behind us to take benefit from and to earn their fortune with. So this was the news that Didi wanted me to share with all of you. And also, I think, on behalf of everyone in Madhuban, to thank all of you for various donations and help and cooperation that across the globe Baba's children have been sending in for Madhuban. And we are hoping, cross fingers, to complete the Pandav Bhavan kitchen by Diwali next year. So all your blessings and good wishes for an obstacle-free project and your donation of yoga will be very, very much appreciated. So thank you all very much for your attention and your time, and lots of loving good wishes to everybody. Om Shanti.